I want to get high. You know that Cypress Hill song? Okay, I might have just dated myself. Maybe the young guys are like, who's Cypress Hill? But anyways, weed, marijuana, millions of men are getting high right now. Heck, you might be smoking a joint and watching this video. I don't know. The reality is millions and millions of people are smoking, and they're smoking regularly. They're smoking every day. And I know because I was one of them for many, many years of my life. I myself have battled marijuana addiction. Anybody who tells you can't become addicted to marijuana, well, they just don't. Maybe they just haven't smoked enough. And it's true that some people can smoke a joint and put it down. I remember one of my buddies, he's like, hey man, I know you smoke weed. You want some weed? I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, I've had this in my drawer for months. I was like, really? Because that wouldn't last 15 minutes in my household. So some people can do it. I wasn't one of them. And I battled marijuana addiction. And I've also used marijuana while practicing semen retention. Now, this video was actually inspired by a question directly asked by one of our subscribers. And by the way, if you're subscribed to the channel or you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you want to ask me a direct question, I highly encourage it. Leave it in the comments below. I do look at the comments and I try to respond to all the comments and the questions because I'm here to support. I'm here to help. I'm a coach and trainer. I've worked with thousands of men over the last decade, helping them transform their lives. And I love creating content directly related to what the community's looking for, your challenges. It's like getting free coaching. So leave a question below, just like this subscriber did. And I'm doing a video to respond to it. I'll do a video to respond to your question as well. Let's get into it. Let's talk about marijuana and semen retention. Hi, my name is Nakula, and I help men master their S3X energy so you can unleash your God-given masculine leadership. Go to the link in the description below and take the free transmutation guide to start on your journey to S3X mastery and ultimately unleashing your talents. Weed is a stimulant, and it stimulates the nervous system. It releases tons of dopamine into the system. And because of this, it makes it more difficult to practice semen retention. Weed over time spikes your dopamine. That's why, the first time you smoke and you're like, wow, you get so high. And then you smoke a second time, you don't get as high. So you have to take a little bit more, then take a little bit more. And then next thing you know, if you were anything like me, you were smoking all throughout the day just to maintain that high, maintain that buzz. And of course, if you get high, what do you have to do? Get low, because that's the law of nature. If you create a high, there will be a low. That's why in spiritual practice, ultimately, we create neutrality. So there's never too many highs or lows. Now, of course, the dopamine mind is like, that sucks. We got to get high. Well, actually, you are supposed to be high, but naturally, high on life, high on energy, high on the accomplishments and the great things that you're doing in the world. So dopamine in itself is not a bad thing. Nothing that nature has given us inherently is bad. It's the misuse of dopamine. And we live in the dopamine culture. Phones and weed and alcohol and dating apps and prawn and all of this stuff and sugary foods. It's like we're just overstimulated, and that's why there's so many problems, why there's so many health problems and so many mental health problems. And very few leaders are willing to actually say what's going on. Hey, what's going on is we're being poisoned at all levels, and we need to unplug. We need to protect ourselves from that. What happens is when you smoke dope, this subscriber said, when I smoke, I notice that it's harder for me to practice semen retention. It's harder for me to practice NoFap, to stay away from the prawn. He didn't say all that, but essentially he's talking about this downward spiral. Well, that downward spiral is because the weed is spiking your dopamine. And when your dopamine gets spiked, you don't just look for it in the one substance. You start looking for it in other substance. Now you're doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, hours going by just doing this. That's all hit, and becoming more and more dull. You're doing it with sugary food. So now you're like, I know for me, I smoke a joint, and next thing you know, I'm like, Doritos. I could definitely use some Doritos or a Joe Louis. If you don't know what a Joe Louis is, don't know what it is. It's so good but addictive. They're little chocolate cakes. The point is, you start going to junk food. You start going to more, now I can go get a fast food instead of cooking a nice nutritious meal. You see, it starts to lead to these spirals. Now, next thing you know, you're on prawn, but it's not just prawn. Then it's a webcam girl. Then it's like now on Tinder, so you could try to mimic what you're seeing. You see, it starts this downward spiral where essentially you become like a donkey with a carrot. You know how to make a donkey move? You just put a carrot in front of it and it will literally walk miles and miles just fixated on the carrot, even though it'll never catch the carrot. That's what drugs do to us, even marijuana. And some people are like, it's not a drug because government says it's legal. Well, governments aren't generally interested in protecting you. Governments, unfortunately, these days are more interested in profits and working for corporations than actually doing what's right for the people. So weed also puts you into a dehydrated state. And when you're in a dehydrated state, your body becomes acidic. And in an acidic state, that is where all kinds of disease and health problems will form. Your body should be in an alkaline state, meaning you should be well hydrated, nutritious foods. And when you're in an alkaline state, disease is virtually impossible to form. You feel good. And from a vibrational level, because you're meant to be an alkaline being, you also emanate a bigger aura and are able to attract, manifest, and create better opportunities. So anybody who's indulging in any kind of drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, excessive social media use, even excessive Netflix watching, all of this stuff is putting you into an acidic state. That's why one of the best things you can do is just go outside in nature and, I feel better. Yeah, because nature itself will heal you. When you're dehydrated through marijuana, it also becomes difficult to practice semen retention because now your body is in an acidic state and you will look to relieve yourself of that. And so you will turn to some quick dopamine fix, hence masturbation, prawn, and illicit sex become an outlet for that. So can you practice semen retention and smoke marijuana? The answer is yes. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's like starting a fire and then pouring water on it at the same time. You'll never get the full benefits of somebody who's clean. All right. It's like, can you go to the gym and smoke weed? Absolutely you can. And you will, over time your muscles will grow, but you're going to take a lot longer. If you go to the gym and you're clean, you're going to get way quicker results than somebody who's going to the gym and on drugs. Similarly, with semen retention, yes, you can smoke dope and practice semen retention. I've done it. But the only reason that I was able to do it is because I have a strong spiritual practice. So because of my strong spiritual practice, I was able to balance it somewhat. But even still, I was not getting the full benefits of semen retention until I really cleaned up. So with a strong spiritual practice, you can kind of mitigate some of the nastiness that we put into our body. But ultimately, I don't recommend it. If you want to get the most from, not just from semen, remember guys, semen retention isn't the goal. The goal is, some guys in the no-fap semen retention movement, they're like, making semen retention as the goal. The goal isn't to retain your semen. The goal is to become conscious. The goal is to become fully alive, to unleash all the gifts and talents and to reach your destiny. That's the goal. The goal is to know God. The goal is to know life. The goal is to be an amazing human being. Semen retention is there as a process to unleashing that. So, yes, you can practice semen retention and do all this nonsense, but you won't get the most from it. What I recommend is getting clean, getting cleaned up. And if you need help, that's why I'm here. We've created tons of training programs and we have a whole curriculum in which we are taking men through getting rid of their vices, getting them cleaned up, getting them into their big vision, getting them on purpose, unleashing their masculine leadership, learning to communicate well, learning to build their businesses and wealth, learning to be better lovers, better husbands, better fathers, better leaders and business owners and politicians. I've worked with men at all different levels of society and different positions with great success. But as long as you continue to do drugs and alcohol, and as long as you continue to indulge in things like prawn and bad foods, you will never get the most from your practice. Now, this is simple, but not easy. I know if I didn't have great mentors and coaches in my life, if I didn't invest in myself, and I've literally invested now over $100,000 in my own personal development to work with high-level coaches and trainers to get to where I'm at today. If you're not willing now, you might not be sitting on hundred thousands of dollars, which is fine. I wasn't either. But if you can invest in yourself, or you're not willing to invest time, money, energy, then what you're saying is, I'm not worth it. And I want you to feel like you're worth it. I want you to know that you're worth it. I want you to know that it's so important that you become the ultimate man in your own right, that you unleash everything that God that has placed in you, because it is part of this world. You're here not just to get high. You're not here to pleasure yourself. You're here to contribute, to make a difference, to make an impact in this world. And we all will benefit when you become better. So it is our duty and our responsibility as men to grow, to educate ourselves, and ultimately become conscious leaders. If you're ready to take the next steps, make sure you go to the calendar in the description below, book some time with me. I would love to connect with you and make sure that you're a right fit for one of our trainings. Subscribe to the channel, never miss a video, so you can continue to grow with the channel, and leave your questions below so that I can do videos directly for you. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next video.